So in our last lesson we wrote some CSS and we styled the top section of our footer. In this lesson we'll be working on the header side of our document. We'll basically need to have this section centered. The color, the font weight and font size for the header should be fixed as well. If we go into our HTML, within header we have H1. So let's start first by drawing a border around our header so we can see what space our header occupies in our document. So if I draw a border that's 1 pixel, red and dotted around our header, if we come back here and reset, we can see our header. So now we could target the header and we could center every content in it, so the text within the header. To do that, we say text align center. So this will put our content in the center of our header, and there we go. So that's looking very good. So if we go back into our document, so there are a few things here. We have a big H1. So if we go into our HTML, we have within header, we have H1. So we can target our H1 next. So now we can say within header, find our H1 child, and we want to say font size, we want to make it something like 44 pixels. And once we've done this, we could go back into our browser and we can reset. So we can see here that our H1 is nice and bold. So we want to actually change that, so it's not bold anymore, so it's more like this, regular. And to have a regular font size in CSS, we could say font weight, and we could say normal. So normal basically will bring it down, so it's not so bold anymore. So there we go. So that's looking good. So what next should we work on? If we go back here, okay, we can see the color will be the next thing. So the color, when it's not a primary color, we can represent it using hexadecimal values, which starts with a hash sign. You can get these values from any software design package. Photoshop, Fireworks would do. So I've copied the value out, so you can copy the value back into your machine. So when we come back in here and we reset, we can see the color is exactly as we want it to be. So that's looking good. So hexadecimal is something that you can just copy into your machine for now. So the next thing we want to look at is, if we see in our document, our H1 has a massive space above and below it. So this is the default value applied to headers, the H1. So we could reset that by saying something like margin, and we set the margin to 0 pixels. So this will affect margin top, right, bottom and left all at once. So when we reset, we'll see that the screen has come back to the way we want it to be. So let's see if we could put a space here between our header and the body paragraph. So we can go into our CSS. Okay, within header, we could say push everything below you down, by something like 40 pixels. Okay, so we say margin bottom 40 pixels. When we come back in here and we reset, we can see that everything has been pushed down by 40 pixels. So that is looking good. Everything's come together fine. We have this space. We have a subheader that we haven't styled yet. I think I'll leave this for our next lesson. And we have this body paragraph to style as well. So in this lesson, we've learned quite a few things. We've learned about font weights and how to give it a value like normal. And we've learned about hexadecimal values. And we learned how to use margin without having to say margin left, top, right or bottom. And that applies it all round for us. We've been able to style our header section, the H1 aspect of it. And in the next lesson, we'll carry on styling the rest of our document. But in this lesson, we can leave it as we've done it. Okay, I'll see you in the next lesson.